I'll call this meeting to order. I believe it's 3 o'clock by my watch. Megan will have the roll call.
Richard Roberts.
Here.
Ann Arnold.
Here.
Richard Griffin. Rick McIntyre.
Here.
Jack Lovin.
Here.
Bill Caldwell. Mary Lou Lauren.
Here. Does anybody have any adjustment to the agenda that they feel we need to make?
No.
Nope.
Did you feel that case number 4-23 was written correctly as a compliance, or is it a variance? To request compliance to the Town of Holden Beach Code? Or is it a request for a variance? What is your? Do you have any
Is that a
input?
request for a variance? Wasn't written on here?
No,
On the
number 5
application.
says a compliance, I mean, number 6 says 4-23 is for compliance.
If I read it right,
He's looking for a variance.
I know, but our agenda
Right.
says.
Oh, you want to
looking
change the
for-
agenda? Right.
Please, that's
Oh.
what I'm requesting you to think
Okay, I'll
about.
make a motion to change the agenda to request a variance.
Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So the agenda will read case number 4-23 to request a variance of the Town of Holden Beach Code of Ordinances. And next, we have the approval of the minutes from the September 18th meeting. Any discussion, any corrections?
No?
move to approve.
Second?
I second it.
All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Megan, we note that we approved the minutes from September 18th meeting. So now we're ready to swear in the people for case number 02-23. Anyone who's given evidence or speaking to this case. Do I have a?
It's a group affair.
All right, I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to tell the truth, the whole truth,
to tell the truth, the whole truth,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you. It needs to be amended. All right, so our purpose is to issue a variance based on the facts and to apply the standards of ordinance to this case, which is to the case about encroaching on the side setback. This board can only issue a variance if there are 3 conclusions met. If there's an unnecessary hardship, if the variance is in harmony with the ordinance, and if public safety and welfare have been assured and justice has been done. So we want to listen to the facts. Will the town be first, please?
I think, I don't know if we had a complaint or if we took notice of a cargo lift that was installed without a permit that was located inside setbacks at 160 Brunswick Avenue West. We gave them, we talked to them, we gave them a notice of violation, and of course, they followed procedures for asking for variance. They're in violation of the town's ordinance, 157-060 setback requirements of 5 feet side setbacks.
And to the owner, is there someone here to represent the owner?
That's me. I have 89-year-old parents, and last summer I contracted with a company called Sunset Lifts to put in an outdoor lift for them. It is a outdoor elevator, so to carry people and groceries. contractor, had to come over, they looked at the job. It took them like 8 months to install the lift. I asked them several times if they, not several, probably 3 times, does this need a permit? He kept saying no. I kept saying, okay, are you sure? Yep, don't need one. Okay, they put it in. My mom came down to pay her water bill and asked someone here, and it needed a permit, and so I notified the town, and I started the permit procedure.
Anybody have any
I
comments?
have a question.
Yes.
If I read all this right, were you first in contact with the home elevators and lifts, and did they refer you to this Sunset
So
lift?
I had seen home elevators, vans, I walk,
Yeah,
a lot, and so I had seen their vans on the island. I did go online, and it looked like home elevator in a place out of Wilmington were the closest ones to Holden Beach. So I called home elevators and was informed that they only do indoor and that the Sunset Lift does their outdoor lifts.
Mr. Evans, do you know, has Sunset Lifts done work on the property, on the island before?
I'm not aware if they ever pulled a permit, that don't mean they didn't do work.
I understand.
I don't know that they've ever pulled a permit. We do have some information from Sunset.
I contacted home elevators because they are tagged on the lift. And when I contacted them, I was informed that the person that runs Sunset Lifts, purchased the elevator from them, but that was it. And apparently he has a, reputation for doing this. This is not the first time that he has purchased some of their equipment and installed it, without permits in different jurisdictions. So apparently this is an ongoing thing. Have not been able to contact him, get in touch with him, and know that we've both tried, several times, but from what we've been given as far as contact information, but.
I spoke with them as well. And they're a legitimate company. I think that, it appears to me that the property owners at 167 Brunswick Avenue West, were trying to do the right thing. That's what it appears to me. It appears to me that, this gentleman, based on the information that we received from him, has probably doing this work, without license and without permits. He's probably done it more than once. You can't find him now, which means that it was a hit and miss. We got everybody he could and got out of town kind of thing. We see it more than we should. But in this particular case, I don't think this is a non-conformance that was created by the property owner. I don't think they created their own problem. I do believe that based on the way that it had to be installed, that it could have a negative effect on the structure if it has to be moved. Because of what they had to do, or what they did to the house to get it put in place. Or it's gonna be costly for them to do the repairs to undo what was done that in the area where that lift was put down.
Explain that a little bit more. How would it compromise the
When they
house?
attached it to the house the way they did, they had to take down part of the rails, and they had to change some of the structural members on the side of the decking. And then, of course, they had to add other things and put through bolts and that kind of stuff through it. They also had to put a stable platform on the ground. Usually it's a concrete pad or something to that effect. We can probe, we can tell what's down there. We can approve it if it ever got permits, then we can figure it out. But like I said, they would have to take it down, then they would have to relocate it somewhere else, which means you gotta dig up that slab because it's in the setbacks. They gotta do a whole bunch of other stuff. And they're gonna have to repair that porch. But I'm just saying, that shouldn't have any bearing on what you're saying. But the true fact of the matter is, it's not a non-conformance that they created, in my opinion. They didn't create it. And it definitely is gonna be a hardship to move now. Now, I don't know, that's up to you guys how to determine how that plays into the game. But, who owns the property next door?
My sister.
You
So they're half
you own the
her
property on the lift side next
Yes.
door?
Yeah.
And it's my parents also, we live next to each other. So,
So the setback encroachment is next to your
To my
property?
sister.
yes, yes.
And it-
Oh, you're
And
related, you're
they're
related?
related.
Okay, okay, I got you.
And it's
I own the
within
house
a,
that my parents live in.
and we're aware, did everybody go by, how many went by the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we'll show that everybody rode by.
Yeah, we looked at
And there
it.
is a fence around it, so there's no,
It is inside the fence.
right, it's inside a fence, so it won't cause a problem with people passing through or whatever, because the fence is outside of it.
How did you initially contact Sunset Lifts?
I called.
You
Home
called that number?
Elevators. I'm telling you, I called Home Elevators. They told me they do not put in outdoor elevators and that I needed to call this gentleman.
So you called him and he answered.
No, this is not the one that put it in. Sunset did not put it in.
No.
Who
Sunset
put it in?
Did put it in. Home Elevators referenced me to Sunset Lifts.
But Sunset
Sunset did
installed
put
it.
in.
Yes.
Home elevators.
And they have now
Oh, no,
disappeared?
We can't find
Yes.
Can you find them? Have you talked to anybody at Sunset?
I have not talked to him in a few months. He responded once to me, he wouldn't pick up the phone, but I texted him and I said I needed to know who a licensed electrician was for the paperwork. And he did give me the name and the license number of the electrician, but he is not returning phone calls. He did text me once.
Have you contacted legal counsel?
I will be.
Had you done any due diligence to check on Sunset? Had you looked at them from the Better Business Bureau or done
I
any
have.
reviews?
Only because I was referred by Home Elevators who was here. And so since Home Elevators was sending me to this person, unfortunately, I assumed that they were associated.
So it's the fact that she did not cause the problem.
Right.
Was, that she hired to do. And as I understand, another fact is that it would be very costly to move it, which is
I just
another
have one
hardship.
question. According to this plat here, it looks like it's like, what, 1.6 feet
not that
of
far.
encroachment?
It's not that much.
It's not
No,
hard.
no. 2 inches, we don't, that's the reason the Board of Adjustments. We give, our testimony is leveraged by the fact that we don't get to give leverage. And that's why you're here. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's 1.5 foot. If it's even that much, it's nothing.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Nope.
I have an initial inclination, which doesn't necessarily say the way I'm gonna vote on this. We have an ordinance, says 5 feet, either you have it or you don't. This seems like a legal issue in my book. I think there's some liability for Sunset Lifts. However, you look at this, I mean, they did this. It's an unfortunate, super unfortunate thing for the families involved, for sure, because you were trying to do the right thing.
Our opinions don't come into facts, and we have to deal with facts.
We have an ordinance.
Right, that's a fact. But we also have hardships, which is our purpose for being here, to make life easy.
That might be an opinion.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to call for the vote?
I move to call the vote.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? We're voting.
Okay.
You get 'em?
We have a unanimous vote in favor of the variance, which means you can go forward with your permit.
Tell your parents to ride along.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So we're moving forward to relocation. This board is charged by ordinance number 157.085 to approve the plans and evidence demonstrating compliance to zoning, the federal, state, and local regulations, and exterior appearance. Has everybody been by this house?
Yes, I have.
That's to be moved?
Yes.
No,
You did not?
no, I did not.
Are we in compliance with the zoning, Mr. Evans?
Jimmy, you need to have everybody swear in.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Would everybody come forward who's gonna give testimony? I'm sorry. Too many steps. 84. Of course, my vote. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
Help me God.
Thank you. Now we'll get back to are we in compliance with the zoning?
There was a zoning application submitted for retaining wall and bill, and that's been approved, but we haven't, as far as zoning for relocation of the house, I haven't seen.
All right. So, if the zoning is compliant, I don't know where to go from there, if we don't have the,
Well, I think you're mixing the responsibilities of the planning department with the responsibilities of the board of adjustments. We have to approve it.
well, we don't do
You
zoning.
have to approve it, but they're not the same. It has to be approval from both departments.
All right,
Okay, so if
So
we
is-
all approve it, and then it comes to us, and it's got everything it's supposed to have, and we approve it, then they can get a building permit. If we approve it, then it goes to y'all, and y'all approve it, then you're gonna have a building permit. They apparently chose to bring it to y'all before they brought it to us, which doesn't negate their right to be heard by you under the ordinance for your approval.
okay. Well, we'll hear from you, Mr. Robert.
Okay. Well, I understood, and obviously, maybe incorrectly, that I needed to be here first before I applied for a building permit. But I may be, if I'm mistaken, I am.
No,
But-
I think it's okay.
So it's a pretty simple process overall, except for all the complications in it. They want to relocate an oceanfront house to a second row lot, which is at the corner of Sailfish and Ocean Boulevard West. I've provided elevations so you can see what the final product would look like. The site plan provided shows that all existing and proposed building and decks would be within the town setbacks. So in addition to relocating the home, there'd be some renovations to the interior of the existing home, adding 654 square feet of heated space, adding 954 square foot of open decking, and putting new decking under an existing roof. This is the same family we did the same thing for several years ago, and it's basically the same type project, just different house, different lot. And one really neat thing about them, they came on vacation here. Now they own 7 houses.
Wow.
They fell
They
in
must
love with it.
love Holden Beach.
And then the one that, out of all the houses that they built and renovated, they would choose this one to be their home. they like the view of starfish, from the marsh views of starfish, and they like or sailfish, I'm sorry. And it's one level for her health. She's already having some health trouble, so it's one level, she likes that. But anyway, I thought it was a pretty neat backstory anyway, that they like Holden Beach that much.
That's a great story. Mr. Evans, your team have any comments?
It's a beautiful lot. It's a nice, beautiful corner lot. Very,
Yeah,
very
it
nice.
is.
I'm shocked that it hasn't had a home on it before now.
The only comment I would make would be at the end.
I'm sorry,
The only comment I would make on this case would be at the end.
at the end? The end of what?
After y'all make a ruling.
There's some fine print here that talks about the owners within 200 feet of the new location being notified. Do we have any evidence that
Yes, sir, I have email evidence. We've communicated with the person next door.
okay, so you have, okay.
I don't have that with me, but I do have it.
Is there a form for that, Tim?
I sent out a formal letter.
Okay.
So for the five of us, I believe you said that you had been by the house for
Yes,
five.
yes.
So, the house looks great like it is and where it is, so I'm sure that it will fit into whatever you do to it. As always, nice looking properties.
Thank you.
And it's up to the permitting department to make sure that you meet all federal, state, and local regulations. So far as building permits and that kind of thing is concerned, that's out. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm ready to vote. What do I hear? Call the vote.
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is 03, 23.
0323.
I have a unanimous number 5 in favor of relocation. You said you needed to speak, Mr. Evans?
Oh, you said it for me. You said it for me. Approval by y'all does not negate his responsibilities to follow all state, local rules under the authority having jurisdiction in the town of Holden Beach. He still has to comply with every single rule that he would for any other construction site. Which means we got to get his
We're
zoning
depending,
approval per the structure, still has to get his, any other approvals he needs, state, federal, or local. Still has to meet all the other ordinances.
and that's what, point D makes that clear, that the building inspector and the Board of Adjustments approve. So, very good. Thank you. All right, all those who are here to talk about 127 Compass Street, please come to the front. I do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to tell the truth,
to tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you. Too good at that. Our purpose today has been requested to issue a variance based on the facts being given to us for particular, that is peculiar to this structure, and that it is in the right, it is, you are deprived of the right to to improve, you are deprived of the right to improve the property based on the fact that it is not in compliance with the codes. We're looking for a variance that is in harmony with an ordinance and that we keep the public safety and welfare and justice to the person who is applying. And Mr. Evans, I'll let you go first, please. I'll ask you to go first, please.
Go first as far as what? Are you wanting me to give evidence as to why they're?
We're looking for facts to help them to get their variance that they're asking for. That's what we're seeking, and the variance is, and who is representing this?
I'm Ava Palethorpe, and I have a certified letter from Scott Barr. He asked me to be here to represent him because he's been called out of the country.
So what is the pleasure of the board? We can have a person.
He's given me written permission.
I think our rules allow us to take somebody else's words for that, yes. So,
Why are you looking at me? I mean, I'm sure she wants a variance.
she wants a variance.
So I'm
He
sure
wants
they made
a-
They made the application.
Yes,
so-
they made the application, and the variance, and I'm gonna be honest with you because I've not been in the flow of all the details of this, but, they want to, enhance their porch from the standpoint that some of the piling have rotted down at the bottom. It needs replacing. And some of the boards on the front porch also are showing a lot of, weakness maybe in them. And they also want to continue the porch around the waterway side of the house, in addition to reconfiguring a bedroom in the back part of the interior of the house. I'm not really clear. The house is non-conforming based on my understanding of the definition. And I'm open for Tim to correct me or anybody else. But when the house was built back in 1970, 71, actually my father sold the lot to the Robinsons, who were the original owners. And Mr. Robinson, during that time, that road, known as Comp Street, was not open all the way. My father had to open it for Mr. Robinson partway for him to build the house. When Mr. Robinson built the house, he asked permission from the county and the town to set the house to the left of the lot and not center to the lot. And the reason for that was he was from Rocky Mount and he had a lot of nieces and nephews and children that came to visit. And that was the only way they could park in the area where they built the house. Since that time, Scott Barr is the third owner of the house, and they would like to replace the siding on the house. As a matter of fact, I've picked up their siding the last two hurricanes. It's been blown off on the ocean side, the whole side. Some of the windows are looking a little worn and in need of repair. I really think, in all earnest, that these homeowners want to comply with whatever the ordinance or the threshold for compliance is, but we're dealing with a cottage that's approximately, 40, 50 years old now. And I think they've been good homeowners. They've really repaired what they could up to this point aesthetically on the property. And so, I'm not really clear about why he needs a variance, other than I know that one side of the house is very close to another property. There's a concrete retaining wall. But I don't, from what I've seen, what he sent me in the way of a plans, schematic, I don't see that it's gonna detract from any of the properties around us. I haven't heard any of the neighbors complain about his plan. I believe we've talked to some of the neighbors about his intention. And I think he's just kind of waiting to hear if his plan will be accepted and if he can go forward and be in compliance.
Thank you. Any questions of her?
As far as says it's non-conforming, and he writes in here that it's 2 feet too close to the property line next door to them.
Yes, sir.
Is that the whole building is 2 feet too close, or?
It's one whole side of the structure is sitting in the setbacks. Before you can come apply for a variance, you have to apply for a variance of this type. It's not house number. This is just like, she had to apply.
Tim, excuse me, I couldn't hear what you said just before that. Could you say it again?
Before you get a variance, you have to make an application for the variance.
Okay.
Or make application for construction. In other words,
Oh.
you're being denied your due process if we don't turn you down first and send you here. Okay?
Okay.
Now, the house moving ordinance is completely different. That's
the
permission
compliance.
to do something, but just like her, she had to fill out an application, we had to turn her down, then she's entitled to a variance. If not, you're denying her due process, and you're actually denying the town due process. And the Board of Adjustments has to follow the process. So they were turned down, and they were turned down because it's a non-conforming structure. And what that means is, in these terms, and the ordinance says you can't add to a non-conforming structure. And what that means is that at some point in time, possibly prior to the ordinance or by some other mechanism, the house got built inside the setbacks. Now, I don't remember what gauge of it was, if we looked it up, but it is our impression that we've seen these before. And most of the time, when they're, unless it's like for impervious area or something, most of these non-conforming structures were already built prior to an engagement of the ordinance, you know what I mean?
Prior to
Or
today's-
by an enforcement of the ordinance. You have to excuse me. At the same time, you really need to have as part of the evidence the contractor that applied for the permit along with the company for part of the evidence. In this particular case, do you know who applied for the permit?
No.
Do you know who applied for the permit?
Gerald E. Baker with, who is the owner of Jerry Baker Builders. And in full disclosure, he is my husband, but we have different businesses. Does anybody have a problem with this?
Will you clarify something for me? I get that one whole side of the house is in the setback. It's not just the wall, it's the house itself. You said that you couldn't add to a non-conforming structure. How does the language of 157-102, where it talks about that you can't increase the extent of non-conformity? Where if they build on the other side, they're not increasing the non-conformity.
You can't increase the use of the non-conforming, so what they're trying to do is add additional living area to the structure.
That's on the right-hand side of the house out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So
They're
that,
making the use bigger.
okay, and because it's already non-conforming, okay,
Yeah, that's right.
that wasn't
The idea
clear
is
when I
that
was
you
reading
bring
that.
them into compliance unless, of course, there's extenuating circumstances that would make it a hardship. But what I'm saying is that you also, believe it or not, if you read the Board of Adjustments rules and regulations, and you can go find this tonight if you want to, but basically, you're not setting a precedent when you give a variance. And this is important for this one, and here's why. But whenever you do give a variance, it's important that if you give a variance somewhere along the line, that you follow the same guidelines and what you've done in the past for a variance, so that they match up. You don't have to, but it's important for you to do that. And in the past, when we've had structures that were non-conforming, like this one, that predate the ordinance itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Then it would appear to me that it would probably be okay to give a variance for this, for an increase in use, and here's why. Number one is why we are adding to the non-conforming use, right? We are not creating more non-conformance.
that was my question.
Okay, so and so you get, there's two different things in there, and so that's what I'm trying to say. The other thing is that I believe that whenever you look at it from a standpoint of economics, value, and how it affects the neighbors, you know what I mean? If the neighbors are improving their properties and you don't improve yours, then it has a negative effect on them. So if it was something that was put in place, it was built after the ordinance was in place, it was built when you had established what I would call responsible enforcement, then I would say you'd be hard pressed. But if it wasn't a thing when it happened, and now you write a rule that made it non-conforming, I think as long as you're not creating more non-conformance, you know what I mean, and you're not in violation with the work you're doing, I don't see a problem with granting the variance. As a matter of fact, I see a whole bunch of pluses in granting the variance.
1971, what was the ordinance? Was it compliant in 71?
Yes, it was, excuse me, yes, it was.
It would have been compliant because it would have received a certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
Even then, there was building codes and there was.
So they didn't get a variance to do this in
No, there's
71?
no variance on record for them
Okay.
to get this. No.
Because if they'd gotten a variance to do this, then we wouldn't be here today. Because the variance goes with the land, if
The
I'm not,
variance would follow the property.
if I'm correct.
I'd like to add that the only way they could become in compliance
Just tear it up.
would be to move the house,
Yeah.
which I think would be, you'd moving it a foot to the side, which would be financially impossible to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, well, but that is the way they would be compliant,
Yes.
correct?
Well, you could tear
They
it
would have
down.
to, they'd
No,
have to relocate the
I've
structure.
seen houses moved,
They'd have to
Yeah.
relocate the structure. It would be-
relocated,
So it would be financially impractical.
impractical to do.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
I would just like to say that unless you've been by there to see it, it's a hard thing to conceptualize because you don't usually see everything to the left. I'm always looking for something in the
Right.
center of a lot, but.
Right. How many have been by?
I did not go back.
It is a little odd looking.
But I have to say, and I hear what Tim is saying, and I know Tim's gotta follow the guidelines, I understand that. I know what they've done interiorly in the house compared to what it was, and what they've done exteriorly with the yard out back and all that, and if that's any indication, I think whatever they do will be attractive for the whole community. I really do.
Well, I think, according to what I've heard, the facts have been presented that state that this is, that they're asking for a variance that is peculiar to this particular structure. Everybody agree? It's
I
deprived,
agree.
if we don't, then they're deprived of their rights to improve the structure. And the results of this non-compliance or the, non-conformancy was not the fault of the present owner.
That's correct.
So, are we ready to call for the vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This is number
0423.
0423.
423. Am I missing one?
There.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. We have a unanimous in favor of the variance.
Thank you very much.
The next item on our agenda for today is old business. You have any old business to take care of?
I don't think so.
I want to thank whoever, Megan, for getting us our books. I appreciate that. Any new business?
No?
Do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.